Since my last Chrono Odyssey video, we've had some pretty big news, and things seem to be moving quickly for this upcoming MMORPG. On the 19th of May, we got a closed beta announcement trailer showing some new footage, as well as confirming that the Chrono Odyssey closed beta test will be taking place sometime in June. So definitely go sign up for the playtest via Steam if you haven't done so already. Aside from that, yesterday we got a 20-minute developer interview that revealed a bunch of new information, as well as showing off actual in-game gameplay with UI elements for the very first time. In this video, I'll be breaking down the developer interview and giving my updated thoughts on what's been shown at the end. But first, support the content by listening to today's sponsor, Ragnarok X Next Generation, the officially licensed 3D MMORPG mobile game that's bringing the legendary Ragnarok Online IP to a new generation. Carrying the legacy of classic Ragnarok Online with a fully upgraded experience, Ragnarok X brings everything you loved about the original but with key improvements that set it apart. 6 iconic classes and deep job progression, cross-platform play so you can seamlessly switch between PC and mobile with shared progress, and a fair drop system which makes sure loot is fairly distributed and every adventurer gets a shot at glory. Ragnarok X Next Generation offers a balanced game experience with zero pay to win, a player-driven economy, and skill-based GVG battles. The classic guild vs guild, family and social systems are back as well, so you can team up, forge alliances, and relive iconic battles. Whether you love farming, crafting, or hunting bosses, there's something for every type of player, and right now there's a lot of exciting guild activities and player-driven UGC events in which you can participate for a chance to win tons of amazing prizes. With over 20 million downloads in Asia, the game is now launching in the US and Europe, so make sure to check out Ragnarok X Next Generation on iOS, Android, or PC by clicking my link in the description and start your adventure now. So, starting out, we're introduced to the executive producer and one of the product managers. It's said that when they started developing Chrono Odyssey, the goal was to make overall progression just as enjoyable as endgame content. We see a clip of the character select screen which shows the Berserker class, which specializes in 3 weapon types, the Chain Blades, Twin Axes, and Battle Axe. We're then shown the Assassin class, which has access to the Saber, Wrist Blades, and Musket. It's said that rather than focusing solely on competitive aspects, the devs wanted players to explore the world seamlessly without loading screens, enjoying things like wandering in the woods, cutting trees, fishing, or grouping up in the open world to fight monsters. The world of Chrono Odyssey isn't your typical fantasy setting. It's an eerie, imposing world that evokes a sense of dread and wonder. The devs drew inspiration from the cosmic horror vibe of Prometheus, as well as the palpable fear of an encroaching threat to humanity similar to the Zerg from StarCraft. The story of Chrono Odyssey unfolds in a world called Cetera, a realm where past and future collide. Here, the very laws of reality come undone as gods, humans, and unknown entities known as the Void come to a head. In the absence of divine order, the boundaries between dimensions collapse, giving rise to war and invasions, and it's this vast scale of chaos and despair that the devs say sets Chrono Odyssey apart from traditional MMORPGs. As the protagonist, you'll stand against formidable foes and travel to both the past and future to alter the fate of Cetera. The developers' goal was to immerse players in an epic narrative where they confront forces far beyond their comprehension. Chrono Trigger was another inspiration for Chrono Odyssey in how it used the concept of time to prevent a cataclysmic event. The producer then talks briefly about why they chose Unreal Engine 5 for Chrono Odyssey, and the motivation is primarily that the engine allows them to create the most immersive and realistic worlds for players to explore, whilst also creating dark atmospheric environments. In the footage shown, we see characters traversing the environment via mantling, climbing, and using some kind of ability to hover. We see chrono gates, structures which are said to appear man-made, but they're not, and we're also shown some void areas which look like something from a sci-fi horror. Next, the producer talks about how they want players to create their own stories through the adventures and exploration they choose. He says traditional MMORPGs often rely on a fixed main questline which forces players to follow the same path. But with Chrono, they took a different approach that allows for more freedom. The Chrono Detector allows players to trace remnants of the past or catch glimpses of the future. With this, players can reveal hidden paths. The game will have a main quest line, but aside from that, players can enjoy a variety of other content whilst leveling, including trials, labyrinths, and field bosses. It's said that players can gain XP through most in-game activities, and it's even possible to reach max level via gathering and crafting alone, whereas other MMOs haven't always been so friendly to players who enjoy non-combat activities, which is why they built a system where players can progress through both exploration and crafting. In this game, you choose your own playstyle and progress in a way that best suits you. It's said that they've minimized in-game guidance to incentivize players to discover the world for themselves, and on screen we can see the Ranger character sheet and can confirm the Ranger has access to the bow, crossbow, and rapier weapons. Next, the producer talks about how Chrono Odyssey will not force players into the fixed role of tank, healer, or DPS like traditional MMOs. Chrono Odyssey uses an action combat system with parry and dodge mechanics, and is designed in a way that every class can contribute in their own way. It's also said that rather than going for traditional large-scale MMO PvP content, Chrono Odyssey aims to deliver a unique PvPvE system that's more small in scale. He says Chrono Odyssey is built for smaller scale play. Initially, they planned on having the Trinity system, but later in development they realized that for their combat system to work, they'd need hybrid classes. This is done via the game's weapon swapping system, which allows for more flexibility when it comes to playstyle and role. They also acknowledged the importance that tanks and healers are able to play solo, and that players don't always need to be in a party to progress. Combat in Chrono Odyssey revolves around a weapon swap system, and instead of skill chaining, players are encouraged to switch between two weapons during combat to maximize damage output and ability usage. There's a boss early in the game that's intended to show players that weapon switching is necessary due to long skill cooldowns on single weapons. The goal here is that combat in Chrono is easy to learn and hard to master, with each weapon offering a distinct playstyle. Weapon swapping also grants passive buffs. The developers didn't want combat to rely heavily on skill numbers or UI elements, but instead the focus is on learning the attack patterns of enemies, understanding your own combos, and executing them in a way that's similar to that of an action RPG. Rather than creating too many skills, they designed each one to have multiple functions, with some being designed to have situational usage. As for the closed beta test, we can expect the following core gameplay features: single-player content in the form of chrono gates and trials, and party-based content in the form of expedition dungeons and region bosses. Single-player content requires players to rely on skill and strategy, and are designed to push players to grow stronger and improve their skills. Chrono gates are one-on-one battles against powerful void apostles. Players must learn their attack patterns and respond accordingly. The difficulty of Chrono Gates is supposed to be high, but so are the value of the rewards. Trials are another form of single-player content where players travel across time and space to tackle puzzles, traps, and randomized mechanics, creating a new experience with every run. Along the way, expect to refine not only your combat skills, but also your creativity and decision-making. As for party-based content, this is designed to emphasize teamwork and strategic coordination. Expedition dungeons are designed for 3-player parties, where each player takes on a unique role, making teamwork essential. Unlike large-scale raids found in traditional MMORPGs, Chrono Odyssey offers a more focused co-op experience that's said to deliver tactical gameplay, even with a small group. When it comes to the region boss content, these are open world bosses that require multiple groups to work together to take down. In the footage shown, the maximum group size seems to be 5 players, and given that he specifically says multiple groups need to work together, I think this means that you can't make raid groups or groups larger than 5 players. Rewards from region bosses is said to be unique equipment linked to the game's lore, and the goal behind the design for the game's single-player content is said to be skill and strategy, and the party-based content is teamwork and coordination. When it comes to exploration content, they divided it into two types, player-driven and goal-oriented. The player-driven content, such as labyrinths and time portals, are designed to encourage exploration, and it seems like content you'll stumble across out in the world whilst doing other stuff and act as a rewarding distraction. Labyrinths are time rifts filled with puzzles, platforming and traps, and reward you with treasure if you make it to the end. Time portals allow you to go back in time and gather rare materials and items. Goal-oriented content comes in the form of bounty hunting. Go to the bounty board, select a bounty, then use your chronotector to track down the target for rewards. The design behind this was to always give players some kind of goal whilst out exploring the world, and during the hunt, players will likely get distracted by other forms of content. For character progression, players can use life skills to gather rare materials and craft high-tier gear that directly impacts their character strength. Players can then make that gear more powerful via enhancements powered by materials earned through combat, exploration, and gathering. Apparently, there'll be many ways to obtain these materials, so you can progress according to your playstyle. In the footage shown, we can see an enhancement system where a piece of gear becomes +1, and the producer mentions that they've reduced the risks tied to enhancements, so that when progression slows, there'll be other ways to get stronger. To me, this just sounds like the game will have an RNG gear enhancement system similar to other Korean MMOs. It's then emphasized that character progression can be progressed in whichever way suits the player, either via combat or life skills. There'll be some way to obtain materials for progression that suit your playstyle, with the non-combat route being a viable path to take in this game if that's what you're into. At the end of the interview, they talk about the goal for the upcoming closed beta test, and it's basically to gather feedback and improve the game, whilst focusing on testing the multiplayer stuff. The game isn't perfectly polished, and post-launch they plan to add new regions, classes and content that expand the world and deepens exploration. The producer's message to CBT testers is to not just follow the quest line, and it's not a game about moving from one objective to the next in a straight line. So, what are my thoughts on this new info? Well, during the interview there was definitely a lot of buzzwords thrown around, as well as contradictive statements that confused me quite a lot. Early on, he spoke about how typical MMOs have a main quest line, which made it sound like Chrono Odyssey won't have one, but later on says there is a main quest line, but players can do other stuff aside from that. There was a lot of buzzwords like vast mysterious world, players shape the world, carve out your own path, exploration, uncover an epic narrative, but it seems like a lot of vague marketing talk. Another confusing statement was how there's no traditional roles, but for the expedition dungeon part, he says players take on unique roles and that player cooperation and teamwork is important for the group content. Yet in the game's Steam description it mentions dungeons and raids where if you're strong enough, you'll be able to clear them on your own, so which one is it? I think the whole teamwork and strategic cooperation stuff is also just marketing and buzzword talk, and most likely you'll just be able to play whatever you want and have the potential to clear the content, because intuitively, with this kind of action combat system like the one shown in this video, you'll be able to avoid all damage by perfectly timing all of your dodges and by parrying. From the footage shown so far, the game definitely looks to me like a Korean dark fantasy New World, so it makes sense that there's no large-scale PvP content, because New World's PvP really starts to fall apart when there's too many players. Large-scale action combat PvP only really works if you take the BDO approach of having tons of AoE damage and iframes, but the combat in Chrono is clearly much more grounded, so I can see why they're focusing more on small scale. Overall, I don't think this interview has made me more or less excited for the game. There was some new stuff that looked pretty cool, but at the same time, some of the combat footage did look a bit clunky, so I guess we'll have to wait for the closed beta test next month to really get a good idea of if this game is any good or not. But that's it for this video. As always, let me know your thoughts on Chrono Odyssey in the comments below, and has this new footage and information changed your opinion on the game? Social media on screen, help us out with a like for the algorithm if you got any value from this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.